Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about adding an auxiliary input to a Delco radio. The radio that we're talking about today, if you look on the back of the radio, you're going to see, in this case it has a fan, but it should work for the ones that don't have it as well. This is a cooling fan. You'll also look on the bottom here. You'll see where the antenna hooks up. It's kind of slightly raised below that. This indicator is the one we're going to be working on. And again, some of these will have this cooling fan and some won't. The faceplate looks like this. And what I've done is gone ahead and drilled in a hole and put in a 3.5 jack. In order to put that jack in, you're going to have to make room for it. You're going to have to cut away a little bit on the side of where the CD goes in, where the light reflector is, a little bit of that. And then there's before I put this in, there was a piece of plastic right in here, that in this section, that I'm going to have to cut out as well. So we cut all that out, wired in the 3.5 jack. Now, this is going to be a 2-wire application. I'm trying to make this as easy as possible. I've seen several applications where we had this CD player, they would cut the wires or solder to the board, and you'd have to put a CD in to play it, or if you had a cassette player, you'd have to put a cassette in to do it, and you cut some wires. That seemed awfully messy to me. And I just didn't want to bother putting a CD in or a cassette in. In this case, this is a CD player. What we're going to do is we're going to interrupt the AM/FM circuit between the section of the board which has the FM AM input from the antenna and before it goes to the amplifier. So if you look at the board, we pull the CD player out. So we pull the CD player out. The CD player obviously would fit in here. And if you look right here, this is our first solder joint. There's a whole row of solder connections right here. You'll see 2 more on my left. Then right in the middle here, that's a solder connection we're going for. Just to the right of it, there's a couple more solder joints. So it's kind of by itself. This physical connection, again, you have to be very careful in soldering this, because if you don't do it right, you're going to short some things out. There's a trace that goes from here, across here, up, and you can trace it out. And it's going to go to another point in the AM/FM section. You can identify that by looking right here. There's a whole set of solder joints, and it's right near here on the end. We're going to connect our second connection right here, as you see. When you follow this line up, there's the trace right in this area here. You're going to have to cut that trace. We have to split the trace between this point and this point. You can do that with an X-Acto knife, a very small knife, or some other sharp object. Just be real careful that when you're doing that, cutting that trace, you don't cut other traces along the way. Okay? So once we've done that, and we've hooked it up over here to our 3.5 jack, we should be ready. In order to get to this, we're going to have to pull off the faceplate. The faceplate has 2 connectors here that you're going to have to pull off to pull it out. I just put them on and tucked it underneath for the demo. Okay. The only thing you're going to have to remove is there's one connector, or one knob right here, and you're going to have to pull the knob that goes on the volume off and take the nut that goes on there as well, so you can separate it and pull these apart. Then you'll have access to do your work here to grind away to put this in, this 3.5 jack. This light piece right here pulls right out. It's got a couple of clips to hold it in. Pull those clips back and it should pull right out, and you can take care of that. So what we're going to do right now, I'm going to show you how to identify if you can't figure out what connection this is, and we're going to show you the results. So I'm going to go ahead and hook up my power. We've got a couple of speakers hooked up. You can see over here it lights up. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. And you can hear we have the FM playing. Now I'm going to show you an easy way to identify which connection is the right one to hook your jack in. Get a cheap CD player or something you can hook it that you're not worried about destroying. Get, a jack to go in there. Take one end of it and put it to ground. I've got the CD player playing right now. If I touch it to that wire that goes to the amplifier, listen what happens. You can now hear it. This is one way to check to see if you've got the right connection. Another way, and this way, unless you are really familiar with using scopes, you're going to get confused. So I'm going to put my scope lead here, and if I look at the scope, you're going to see the actual signal. Now this signal will confuse you because there's several of them that are going to look just like that. But this is one way to identify it. It's moving with the sound. And what I did is I adjusted the sound, and that level should not change as you adjust your volume. Okay? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this off. I'm going to put in my jack right here. Plug it in to my 3.5 I put on front. And you can hear the radio. Hear the CD player. Piece of cake. If I go ahead and put a CD in, the CD player will still now work. You can see we're playing on the CD player. So we haven't interrupted anything. So again, real easy application. All we have to do is go onto our board and cut that wire that I was cut that connection that I was telling you, and do those two solder joints. So I hope this is informative, and if you have anything else you'd like to see an auxiliary jack put on, just let me know. Take care. Bye.